All right, yeah! Thank God for draft day in fantasy football. That's what we're doing here today. We're going to do a live draft in a league that I'm in a 12-man PPR league, and we're going to show you how to use some of the tools we mentioned in our pre-draft preparation work video. But today, we're talking draft day. I want to take some of my friends' money. We're going to record this so that you can see the best way for you to draft players and win money in a championship in fantasy football. So let's head over to the draft day chalkboard
and check out the facts.
Okay, here's a couple tools that you'll need to have a successful draft. On the left side of your screen, one of my favorite websites, fantasyfootballcalculator.com. We showed you in our pre-draft preparation work video how to get to the draft board. This is an average draft position for a 12-man PPR league. On the right side of the screen, we have Fantasy Pros. We showed you how to get to their site on our pre-draft preparation work video. We had to sign up for their premium service and pay for it, and this is called Draft Assist. And Draft Assist will help you determine who you could pick in every single round. So will this draft board from Fantasy Football Calculator. Well, to prove it, we're going to record a live draft with a lot of my friends. I appreciate their help. They're trying to win my money. We paid a lot of money to be in this league, and we're going to go at it for our 20th season. This league's been around for 20 years, and today we're going to go at it. And I'm going to tell you what, when I see these guys, I've won this league many times over 20 years. About a quarter of the time I've won this league or been in the Super Bowl in this league, and these guys want to beat me and they want to embarrass me. And we're going to do this league throughout the year and show you at the end just how it turned out. So I'll tell you what, enough said. Let's wait for the draft to start, and we're going to show you who everybody picks and who I pick throughout the whole draft.
So let's get the show on the road.
Okay, here we are in our draft room. This is key that you have this stuff. And this is why I like to use rtsports.com. We talked about it in our pre-draft preparation work video. These guys have been around since 1995. We've been using them for basically 20-some years, and they do a great job. On the left side of the screen here, over here, you can see 8 of the 12 teams are in the draft room. Soon, all 12 teams will be in. If you do one of these leagues, you can pause the draft up here anytime you want. But RT Sports does a great job, and we suggest when you get a chance, you check them out. They do a great job. If you come down here and hit this thing that says Draft Board Grid, that's what you get on the right side of the screen. The teams are listed up here, and this is called a draft board. When everybody picks, this is where the names are going to come up, and it's going to help you determine who you take with your next pick. Now that everything's described, all we're waiting for is everybody to fill the draft room in the next 5 minutes, and we're going to begin our draft and show you how to win a championship in fantasy football. Okay, here we are in our draft. The draft's just about to start. I have the 4th pick. This is me in this column here. So it becomes my turn each time, maybe before or after, I will pop in here to show you who I'm thinking about picking, and we'll show you the draft board to see who other people picked so that you have an idea of what you can do in your upcoming drafts this year and down the road using these tools. We'll be back as soon as it's my turn to pick. Okay, here we are. We got 1 pick before it's my pick. As you can see here, the clock's ticking on this guy, and this is my pick. So let's go over and check out some of the tools we need to use to decide who I'm going to take with the 4th pick in this draft. As you can see here, this guy's gone, this guy's gone. He has yet to pick. Fantasy Football Calculator says these are the guys that we have available. They're saying with the 3rd pick, Ezekiel Elliott's who this guy should be taking. then Alvin Kamara, then Michael Thomas, and then Dalvin Cook. Let's see who the guy at number 3 picks, and then I'll be back to tell you who I like. Okay, as you can see here, Draft Wizard suggests that I take Alvin Kamara, Dalvin Cook, Michael Thomas, or Davante Adams. We go over here, we can see over here, they suggest on our ADP sheet to take Alvin Kamara, but because of the strength of schedule for running backs, I like Dalvin Cook, and that's who I'm taking. Okay, the pick is in, man. I took Dalvin Cook. As you can see right here, the next guy that they suggest is Alvin Kamara, and basically all the same players with the 5th overall pick. I took Dalvin Cook. I'm sure Alvin Kamara, Michael Thomas, and Clyde Edwards-Helaire will be the next few picks. I like what Fantasy Pros has suggested. I didn't take their opinion. You could. That's why we have them on here. On the left, you just mark off people as they get drafted, which will help you figure out who to draft next. So I'm going to concentrate on who I'm going to take
in round 2.
So when we come back, we'll be looking at what Fantasy Pros thinks. We'll be looking at the draft board to see who other people have taken. And we'll be looking at to see who I have
to pick in round 2
of our draft. Okay, here we are. Back. It's my pick. I'm on the clock. As you can see, these are all the players that have been taken. As you can see, they're suggesting I take Kenyon Drake or Chris Godwin. Man, I really like Chris Godwin and I want to take him. I've only got a minute to pick. I got to make a tough decision. But you can see these 3 players here, I like them all. But they're overwhelmingly suggest I take Kenyon Drake. This guy was a late first round pick just a month ago. I got to take him. So that's my pick. I really want Chris Godwin, but I want to build my roster with running backs early. So let's take Kenyon Drake. Okay, as you can see here, this is our draft board on the right here. We started out with Christian McCaffrey, Saquon Barkley, Ezekiel Elliott. I knew that's how it would happen. It was my choice between Dalvin Cook and Alvin Kamara, but I had Alvin Kamara on my team last year. He let me down. He was injured. The strength of schedule for running backs favored Dalvin Cook. He's got an easy schedule for running backs in fantasy football, so I went with him. Then Nick Chubb went. Alvin Kamara, Derrick Henry, Clyde Edwards-Helaire. I was kind of thinking Michael Thomas might get in there somewhere, but people like to build their rosters with running backs early. If you get a chance to watch our workhorse running back videos, you'll see people build their rosters with workhorse running backs because they get the majority of the carries. Volume is king in fantasy football. That's why they go running back early, and then they build from there. It gives them a lot of flexibility later in the draft, and I agree with that. That's why Michael Thomas fell. Then you got Davante Adams, Josh Jacobs, DeAndre Hopkins, and as you can see here, the usual cast of characters coming down here, and to where I picked Kenyon Drake, who fell in this. I really wanted Chris Godwin, but the value was too high, and I took Kenyon Drake because I like to build from running back foundation. Could come back to haunt me. I really wanted Chris Godwin there, but I'm trying to show you guys how to build a roster. So let's go back to when we come back, we'll show you who I'm taking in the 3rd round when we come back. Okay, here we are. It's about for my 3rd round pick. And the reason I like to use fantasy football calculators, because as you can see here, this is their average draft position, and this is exactly how the draft went. All these guys have been taken in the rounds 2 and beginning of round 3, and here I am picking here, and you could see that it's almost in the order that it's supposed to go. That's why you use fantasyfootballcalculator.com. Now, it's not my pick yet, but I got to start thinking about who I'm going to take. I really like Mike Evans. I like Kenny Golladay. Those are great positions. But what will Fantasy Pros suggest I do? Of course, the guy before me took Kenny Golladay. They suggest I kind of go with Mike Evans and stuff. But you know what? I'm trying to build a roster, and I really kind of like Mark Andrews here. But it might be a little bit early. You can see on the ADP, he's going here. He won't be available, so I'll wait. So I'm really looking to kind of bulk up my running backs, but I don't see anybody I really like. So what I'm going to do, I'll let you know when I come back. Okay, I made my pick. It's third round. I'm trying to build depth here. I normally take a wide receiver here, but I just didn't see any value in wide receiver. There wasn't a tight end, as you can see here at Mark Andrews. I did like Mike Evans here and Adam Thielen, but this draft is so deep at wide receiver, and what it's not deep at is workhorse running backs. So I'm trying a new strategy here, and I went with 3 running backs. And if you look at these running backs, the one I really like the most, that I think has the most potential, is this guy, Leonard Fournette. I've done a few leagues this year, and this guy actually went earlier than this by far. He had a lot of receptions last year, so now I don't have to worry about running back for a long time. I've got Fournette, I've got Drake, and I've got Cook. I just have to know when I come down here to round 9, I got to get Alexander Mattison, who's the handcuff for Dalvin Cook. And I'm not really too worried. Chase Edmonds is on here. I got to find him for the Arizona Cardinals. And Leonard Fournette has a guy named Armstead, so I got to take him. And those will be my 6 running backs that I'll go into the league with this year. That's why I went with this strategy, because I don't have to take a handcuff too early, round 8 or 9 maybe, for Dalvin Cook. So when we come back, we'll be looking at our round 4 pick. We'll catch you up on the draft. Go from there. Okay, we'll give you a quick update. I got a long way to go. As you can see here, I took Leonard Fournette, followed by Todd Gurley, Mike Evans, DJ Moore, David Johnson. Cooper Kupp, that's a great pick. Le'Veon Bell, the usual cast of characters. Might be a little bit of a reach here for these 2 guys, but they're rookies. He better get their handcuffs or he could be in trouble. We're coming back around this way. Guys, I'm looking for some good tight ends. Maybe Mark Andrews, then maybe in the 5th round, maybe Zach Ertz, one of them 2 at tight end. And some good wide receivers now that I'm set at my running back. I really have to control whether I reach for a quarterback. I do like, the quarterback for the Cowboys and the Arizona Cardinals, but that might be too early for me because I'm a wait on quarterback guy because I'm a veteran, so I probably will. With our next pick, we're going to be looking at some tight ends or wide receivers because this is the sweet spot for tight ends. If you don't get one of those top 2, and there's some really good 2nd-tier wide receivers here. Okay, here it is on my pick. I got about a minute here. I got to make a pick. These are who they're suggesting. I really like these wide receivers a lot, but I've been targeting Mark Andrews all day. And if he's not taken right here, which they took DK Metcalf, I'm going to take Mark Andrews, even though I'm weak at wide receivers. So we'll get Mark Andrews out of here. That's who I'm really like. Adam Thielen is the one I should be picking. This is who Fantasy Pros suggest I pick. Robert Woods, Mari Cooper, and the guy like Mark Andrews. So as you can see, the draft board says I should be taking these wide receivers. I really like them all, but maybe I'll get one as it comes around to me. So I'm going to take Mark Andrews with my pick, and I'm going to be happy with it because he's a great tight end. Okay, I made my pick. It's Mark Andrews. I really like him a lot. As you can see, the reason I did that is look all the wide receivers I can still get. I pick again basically here as it comes around. I'm pretty sure not everybody's taking a wide receiver, and I love these guys. So I'm going to get a really good wide receiver in here as it comes around to me. And then once it goes in the next couple rounds, I'll get even more wide receivers that I like. I may even throw in another tight end. Why? Because that'll squeeze the market and get some of these guys to start taking tight ends. Okay, here we are on the clock. Basically, A.J. Brown just went. So it's between these wide receivers right here because I didn't have any yet. And it's clear that Robert Woods is the pick. That's who they say. I like Terry McLaurin, but it's clear that Robert Woods. I waited on wide receiver. I'm getting maybe a wide receiver too, and I'm going to pick him. Robert Woods is the pick. This is my team right here. 3 running backs, tight end, wide receiver. Haven't drafted a quarterback. I like to wait on quarterback. I'd like to get me some really good wide receivers, unless a tight end, maybe Zach Ertz comes to me or something in here. I might do it. I will, because they're hard to come by. So are running backs. That's why I went with these guys. I'm going to get their backups also. So I'm trying to get wide receivers in here, and then before I draft a quarterback later in rounds, maybe 9 or 10. As you can see here, since I last picked, these guys filled in with some really good wide receivers. I was hoping one of these guys would fall to me. I really like all these guys a lot. But I'll take I'll take Robert Woods. Just is what it is. I was hoping to get one of those other guys, but it didn't work out. But look, Robert Woods didn't exactly have a lot of touchdowns last year, but he did get 1,000 yards and a ton of receptions. So I like that pick. But from now on, I think I'm going to be concentrating on wide receivers. I'm going to get me 3 or 4 good ones, maybe possibly another tight end, all before I draft a quarterback. And I think I'm in good shape to do that. Whenever I go into a draft, I always try to get me 3 good running backs, 3 good wide receivers, and a tight end before I draft my quarterback, unless a really good one, maybe a Dak Prescott, falls to me or something like that, or a quarterback I can't pass up. I really like the kid from Arizona Cardinals too. I think they're going to have both breakout years. So we'll see where those guys fall. And that's my plan going forward. So when we come back, we'll be looking at pick number 6. Okay, here we are going to take a look at the draft board. As you can see right here, we got to look at some of these teams. Team 1 looks like it's shaping up. Nice, well-balanced team. Team 2 here, we won't look at any of the names. Looks like it's well-balanced too. It's going to need wide receivers like I do. A lot of wide receivers here, no tight ends, no quarterbacks, and he picks before me, so that's important. I know when I go to pick a quarterback, I got to worry about him. The team after me, which this is me, he has no quarterbacks. So it's important to keep that in mind on a draft board, is who's picking before you and who's picking after you. They may take a player you want if they don't have that position filled. That's why I use this tool. Anyways, as you can see, good team here. This team here is set up pretty nicely. Might have some problems at running back here. Another good team here, well-balanced. Another good, well-balanced team. It's a tough league. Another well-balanced team. All these guys need tight ends, tight ends, tight ends, tight ends. And we're going to be starting to get in this quarterback run because you can see nobody has any quarterbacks. This guy here started the quarterback run, and I think you'll see that's what'll happen. You'll start to see in round 6 here, maybe quarterback come off the board. Why? Because you see somebody here started it. I like to start runs. I usually do it with kicker and defense later in a draft, so we'll see how it goes. When we come back, I'll be picking in round 6. I'll be looking to pick up maybe a sleeper at quarterback or maybe a really good wide receiver that fell to me. We'll see when you come back. Okay, here we are in the 6th round. I got one pick before I go, waiting for, he took Evan Ingram, and this is what the draft board looks like. Right here, let's get Evan Ingram out here. There's one solid pick still available, and it's telling me to take Tyler Lockett. Up here at 77%. I really like Dak Prescott. I want to take him, but I need wide receivers, and I know as a veteran to wait on quarterback. So I'm going to pass on the obvious quarterback, go with the obvious choice here. Supposed to be a 5th round pick. Beginning, I'm getting him on Fantasy Pros, 77%. I'm going with my boy, Tyler Lockett. Okay, I drafted my team. I got basically 3 running backs, wide receivers, a couple of them, tight end. I'd like to get one more wide receiver before I draft my quarterback. I got a lot to choose from. As you can see here, I like a lot of these guys over here, so I'm hoping to get some of them. So what I did was I put some of them in my queue. Over here, if you hit the star on RT Sports, it puts them in the queue. So if I want AJ Green in there, I just hit that and it puts them over there. So when it comes my turn to pick, I hit the plus sign. Right now, my pick could probably be either T.Y. Hilton or Julian Edelman. I'm going with a bunch of veterans. But hey, at least I know what I'm going to get from these guys as opposed to some of these guys I don't know. And we'll see what happens. But filling up your queue is a good idea. You should have 3 or 4 or 5 guys in there every time it's your turn to pick. And after I get another good wide receiver, I might take Dak Prescott if he's still there because that would be good value. So we'll go back and check that out. So when I see you next, we'll be in round 7, getting ready to make that pick. Okay, here we are taking a look at the draft board. I just took Tyler Lockett here in the 6th round. That's good value, seeing how his average draft position was over here in round 5. As you can see, this is what these guys did. A.J. Green, Hayden Hurst, Hunter Henry, T.Y. Hilton, Marlon Mack. Now I'm picking here at pick number 4. The only person that could possibly take a quarterback, which is still on the board, is Dak Prescott. He's supposed to be a 5th round pick, but he's still in the 7th round. He's the only person I'm worried about taking him. Most of the players I liked before are gone. T.Y. Hilton I liked. I was going to take him. but I usually try to get another really good wide receiver in there. There are some really good ones out there. I'm thinking Dak Prescott, maybe a really good quarterback. When we come back, I'll let you know what I did. Okay, I was kind of liking to go with the wide receiver here, but I think I'm going to start a run on quarterbacks, and it's round 7, and this is about where I think it's going to start to happen. So what I did decide to do is go with the guy that was supposed to go in the 5th round back up in here. He was good value. Fantasy Pros said he was one of my top 3 picks. So I went with a good quarterback in round 7. I was thinking about waiting till round 8. But I think Dak Prescott, with his wide receiving core and running back, he's going to get a chance to lead the league in yardage and touchdowns. So I went with him. I'm happy with the pick. I'm going to be focused on maybe a second tight end, but mostly wide receivers after this. I definitely have to get one of my handcuffs coming up here for Dalvin Cook in round 9. So in round 8, I'm looking at a wide receiver. In round 9, I'm looking at my handcuff for Dalvin Cook. When we come back, we'll take a look at how the draft board played out and who I'm thinking about picking in round 8. Okay, here we are in the 8th round. I know in the 9th round I've got to start thinking about taking some of my handcuffs to these running backs. I may wait because I really got an issue at wide receiver. I like my quarterback. I should have waited, but I really like him. I kind of started a mini run on quarterbacks, and you'll see it pick up here soon. I got my choice of a lot of good wide receivers here. If you come over here, these are the people that they're suggesting I take, which the next will be John Brown. I like Christian Kirk a lot. I've got him listed here. So Brandon Cooks is another one of them I really like. I may skip taking my handcuff to Dalvin Cook and wait till round 10 to get him. Somebody might take him, then again, they might not. But I got to get me some wide receivers with this pick. When I come back, you'll see who I decided to take. Okay, I decided to go, as you can see right here, with Brandon Cooks. They had Christian Kirk and Brandon Cooks as the top 2 choices on Fantasy Pros. I'm hoping to get Christian Kirk in the next round, maybe skip my handcuff with the Minnesota Dalvin Cook running back and hope he's there in the 10th round. But I got to get some wide receivers. I like a lot of them. I also need a backup tight end and a backup quarterback I'm starting to think about. So that's where my thinking is right now. As you can see, the quarterbacks are starting to come off the board. And I really like my Dak Prescott pick. I think he's going to have a big year. He's a 5th round pick I got in the 7th, so I like that. And Brandon Cook, that's the round he's supposed to go in, so I took him. And I think he'll be the best wide receiver on the Houston Texans. So we'll see where we are here coming into round 9. I should be taking the backup to Dalvin Cook handcuff, but I may skip it and go for one of the wide receivers left on the board. When we come back, we'll check it out and see who I decided to go with here in round 9. Okay, this is the draft board. Here we are. We've got, I should take my handcuff here, but I'm not. And these are the wide receivers I got to choose from. I'm a big fan of this guy, Christian Kirk or James Crowder, and here they are. I got to make my pick. I only got 50 seconds to do it. When I come back, I'll let you know what I decide. I really like these 2 guys a lot. Okay, as you can see here, we're in round 9. I went with another wide receiver, Christian Kirk. A lot of upside. Fantasy Pros thought it was one of my top 3 picks. My wide receiver players are starting to come around. My running backs are good. Tight end. I could like to get another really good tight end. Later on, I got to think about my backup quarterback, which I'm thinking about Daniel Jones. I got to get Alexander Mattison in here, so those will probably be my next 2 picks. I'd like to get another tight end. And rounds 13, 14, 15, you can get a lot of really good wide receivers and some other backup running backs. But I'm trying to get a balanced lineup here that can compete week in and week out in a COVID-19 environment where players could get sick and not play. So that's what I'm trying to do here. So we'll see what happens when it comes my turn to pick in the 10th round. We'll see where the value is, and that's where we're going. Because I've got a balanced lineup here, and I'm not locked in to having to take anything. These are the guys suggesting I pick. I got to get Alexander Mattison in here. He's my backup running back. I really like Anthony Miller a lot. That's who they're suggesting I take here on Fantasy Pros. You can see Drew Brees, Phillip Lindsay's in there. Those are good picks. There's Chase Edmond. I got to get him. Tyler Higbee just got taken. Noah Fant got taken. I'm on the clock here. So I've got to make a pick. So when I come back, I'll let you know what I did. I really like Anthony Miller, and that's a great pick there. Phillip Lindsay too. Well, that's going to be a tough one. I'll be back. Okay, well, my pick, unfortunately, I went with Darius Slayton after looking at it. I like Andre Miller a lot and Sterling Shepard. I mean, they're good, but Darius Slayton's an up-and-coming guy. I've got my next pick selected for Alexander Mattison. I like to take handcuffs to running backs. That's a big deal. So Alexander Mattison for him, Kenyon Drake, Chase Edmonds. So I can get those two, I think, in the next few rounds. Leonard Fournette's got a guy named Rockwell. We'll see if he's available late in the draft. Those would be my 6 running backs. I still need a backup tight end and a backup quarterback, which I'm going to be taking here in the next few rounds. So I think I'm good at wide receiver for a little bit. I can play these guys for a while and get some other good wide receivers later in the draft. So I think I need to focus on my backup running backs, another tight end, and another quarterback. So when we come back, we'll take a peek and see where we are in round 11 after the break. Okay, here's the problem with waiting on some of your backups, your handcuffs. Mine got taken. Alexander Mattison got taken. I took Darius Slayton. It's a risk I decided to do, but one of the guys in my league took him. Nothing I could do about it. It's not going to kill me because he's a backup and he won't play for me. So what I'm thinking about doing is I really like Anthony Miller here. I think that's where I'm going to go with this pick because I definitely like him. I think he's going to have a big year. My other pick would be Tevin Coleman. When I come back, I'll let you know what I decided to do. Here we are at our break. It's halfway through a 22-round draft, so we're in round 11. We still got a long way to go. This is my team right here. Started out with Dalvin Cook, Kenyon Drake, Leonard Fournette. So I'm good at running back. Mark Andrews is a great tight end. My wide receivers are all tier 2, 3 kind of guys. And I got a tier 1 quarterback, maybe tier 2 quarterback. So as it goes from here, I got a lot of wide receivers, probably as many as I'll need. Might get one more, but I got to get a backup quarterback, backup tight ends, and backup running backs. It won't be sexy from here on out, but this is what these rounds are about. Probably should have taken Tevin Coleman. I'm really upset with myself for not doing it. Everything inside me said do it, and I didn't. I missed out on this guy here, Alexander Mattison, who is my handcuff to Dalvin Cook. That's going to kill me later in the year, but hey, it was a good pick for whoever took him. But I like my wide receivers, all tier 2, tier 3 guys, as far as maybe all our wide receiver 3s, but I'll take that because you can get wide receivers even on the waiver wire throughout the year, but you can't get tight ends and you can't get running backs. So I'm pretty happy with my draft so far, and I think the rest of the way I'm going to be focusing on backups at quarterback, tight end, and running back to give me a nice, balanced, solid team. Because I think I'm really strong at wide receiver. I might add one more. I got to get me a good kicker and a good defense. So here in the next maybe 2 or 3 rounds, I'll be looking at defenses. Try to get me maybe Pittsburgh or San Francisco, Buffalo, Los Angeles Chargers. So those are the defenses I'm looking at. And I'd always like to have a good kicker. I never wait to the end. So if I can get me one of the top 5 kickers, I really like to do that. So that's what I'm thinking right now. I also got to get my handcuffs for these running backs. Kenyon Drake, Chase Edmonds, and this Rockwell Armstead. I got to get him on my team. Chase Edmonds is supposed to go in rounds 9 or 10, so he might have to be my next pick because I can't be missing out on any more of my handcuffs at running back. It'd be a big mistake. I made a mistake not taking Alexander Mattison. Nothing I can do about it now. So we'll see how the rest of the draft goes. Okay, here we are back on the clock again. As you can see over here, Fantasy Pros is suggesting my backup quarterback, a really good running back that's going to start the Hall of Famer, start the year out well. But here's my backup. Ugh, man, and I got to get my handcuff. I made a mistake at not getting Alexander Mattison. I really want Dallas Goedert, but I'm going to have to wait. I'm going to have to take a handcuff. Look, this is tough decisions, but if something happens to Kenyon Drake, I gotta have Chase Edmonds, so I'm taking him. We'll be back in round 13 to tell you what I'm gonna do then. Hopefully Dallas Goedert's sitting there. Okay, here we are back in the clock. I got like a minute to make a pick. I really want to back up tight end. Dallas Goedert's my guy. I really want to back up quarterback. Daniel Jones is my guy. There's other players I do like on this list, but you can see here Dallas Goedert's the guy. They're suggesting it here. Fantasy Pros is not suggesting it, but because I'm taping this and I want to make sure you guys understand what to do here, you should have a tight end group that's good. Dallas Goedert's an up-and-coming guy. That's why I'm taking him over the New York Giants quarterback, who I desperately want, but that's who I'm taking is Dallas Goedert. There you go. He's on my team. And he's a good player. Now, the rest of the draft, I'm going to have to figure out a backup quarterback because Daniel Jones is going to go here. I could start a run on defenses if I take a defense here. But it's whether or not it's a good idea to do it in the round we are. To start a run, you have to make a pick, and hopefully other people go, oh my God, somebody made a pick. I'm going to do it. But I would do it in instances that you need a player and you want the best player you can get, and hopefully a run starts. I like to start to take defenses around 14, kickers in round 17. So that's where I'm looking to start a run, and hopefully that happens. So keep an eye out for that. I am looking for a backup quarterback. As you can see here, the first defense went off the board. So we'll see if a run starts when we come back in the next round. Okay, here we are in round 14. I got my backup tight end. I could use some backup running backs, but they're saying that I should take a backup quarterback, which I needed. Daniel Jones is gone, but I'm not taking Cam Newton. And San Francisco's defense is there, which I like them, and Buffalo and Pittsburgh. So I think San Francisco's defense might be, this is the first time I would take them this early, but that's what I'm going with, and I'm hoping to start a run on defenses. Okay, here we are. I took the 49ers defense, hoping to start a run, and here you saw that the next defense came off the board. But here's an important thing right here. You saw right here where this guy took Justin Tucker in round 15. I normally don't take kickers until later in the draft, starting around 17. But what I'm hoping to do is start a run to get other players to fall to me. Might not work. You know, people that don't know what they're doing take kickers in round 15. But you saw how I started a run here with the 49ers. That left players fall to me. If you come over here and see the top 300 picks, is there really anybody that you think is that great that I should be taking down this list? I'm not buying any of it. So you know what I'm going to do? I'm just going to make sure I get a great kicker on the highest scoring offense in the league, and it's Harrison Buckner. It's a bad idea for rookies to do this, but you know what? I don't see any value on the board that I like, and I'm hoping to start a run because this guy took Justin Tucker just like we started a run with the San Francisco 49ers. It's a strategy. Let's see if it works. Here we are. You see right here, this is what I tried to start a run on kickers, and I got a few people to bite. After I pick, that's what'll happen. I got to pick right now. I'm on the clock with 48 seconds. I need a backup quarterback. I'm looking at Teddy Bridgewater because Gardner Minshew's gone. Give me some time to make this pick, and when we come back, I'll let you know what I decided to do. Okay, here we are late in the draft. This is the draft board. This is my team. I got 3 running backs here. Here's my 4th one down here. Here's my 5th one. I like all these guys a lot. I'm going to draft Rockwell, which is the backup to Leonard Fournette. A lot of people think it's Chris Thompson, but it's not. Anyways, I missed out on Madison and made a mistake by taking Miller when I should have taken Tevin Coleman. But I'm getting a pick here, right here in a few minutes. I did take Jerick McKinnon. I really like him a lot. I'm thinking it might be time to get me like a wide receiver that isn't going to get drafted anytime soon. But you know what? When he comes back, he's the best player at wide receiver on the Philadelphia Eagles. And it's this guy over here, Alshon Jeffrey. I got 6 guys ahead of him. He's on the PUP list. I don't have to, look at all the wide receivers I got right here. I don't have to play this guy. It's good value. I plan on coming back and getting Teddy Bridgewater as my backup quarterback. Why? Because his defense is terrible. They're going to get killed. He's going to have to throw the ball a lot. Plus, he's not awful, and I don't plan on playing him other than Dak Prescott unless Dak Prescott has a cold weather game, or maybe he's on bye. And then I plan on playing Teddy Bridgewater, which in the COVID-19 scheme of things, be a good idea to have some backups. So I may have 3 quarterbacks on my team this year. So let's go ahead and take that guy, Alshon Jeffries, and come back and let you know what we did in round 18. Okay, here we are. We've got like 5 rounds left. I only have about 5 running backs, so I might fill out my running back core here with some guys on the same team in case there's an injury. I'm going to play the odds. I'm going to come over here, and as you can see, they like Anthony McFarland. He's out of Maryland. I'm going to tell you what, if you saw him play against Ohio State, man, he like lit them up. He was the best player on the field in college. And then you got Jalen Samuels down here. Another guy I really like is I'm trying to get a backup quarterback. So I might take Anthony McFarland. I'm just wondering if Teddy Bridgewater will make it to me in round 20. That's who I've been targeting. And the reason I targeted Dak Prescott and Bridgewater is because basically their defenses aren't very good. They got a weak secondary and they got issues. So I always like to take quarterbacks that have weak defenses because they're going to have to be in a shootout. I tried to get the Giants quarterback, but he was gone. Most of these guys are taking kickers and defenses. And I think there's a chance I might be able to get Bridgewater if I take him now and maybe take McFarland. But my pick's right on the clock. So stick around, I'll let you know what I decided to do. Okay, here we are. We're at the last 4 picks of our draft. I got a pick coming up here in less than a minute. As you can see right here, I went with Teddy Bridgewater. I'd like to get another quarterback. I'd like to get another couple running backs, but fortunately I don't have enough picks. You think I would. I can probably pick up another tight end after the draft, but really it's important that in 22 or 20 rounds to have a lot of running backs. So instead of taking a quarterback here, I'm going to take a flyer on a guy that these guys are suggesting, which is Anthony McFarland. So I'm going to get him up there, and let's see what Fantasy Pros suggests. Fantasy Pros is suggesting I do these guys. They want me to... I really like Steven Sims too. Boy, that guy's going to be a good player. I'd have very few minutes left to make a pick. This guy could be good. But here's the guy I'm going with. See, I didn't even know this. Anthony McFarland. That's who I'm going to take. For sure. Okay, here we are on the clock again. You know, we got a 22-round draft, and the reason we added 2 extra rounds is because of the COVID-19. So... if you're going to have COVID-19 issues, and Dak Prescott is a high candidate to get it, it's down in Dallas, Teddy Bridgewater could get it, I think it's best to have a lot of quarterbacks, because in a 22-round draft, to come away with just 2 quarterbacks might not make sense in COVID-19 era, because anybody could get sick. It could happen, and they'll be out a minimum of 3 weeks. So I do like the guys I have over here. I know I have to get Armstead, as you can see right here. So those are 2 of my next 2 picks, Sam Darnold. So let me go ahead and get Armstead out of the way and see what happens after that. So let's draft him because we have, you say, why take him? Well, I have Leonard Fournette. So I have to have him. It's important that I do have him. But I also think in this era, you have to have your handcuffs at running back, but you may need a lot of quarterbacks and tight ends simply because people can get sick. So that's why I'm doing it. That's why we added 2 rounds to our draft, and you should consider doing it too. But I'm trying to have a balanced draft, so I got a bunch of running backs, bunch of wide receivers, bunch of tight ends, bunch of quarterbacks, and I feel good. Good defense, good kicker. When we come back, I'll let you know how we finished up the draft. These are some of the players I have up there. Some of them were already up here. I'd like to get me another good tight end. I don't see where I'm going to play any of these wide receivers. You know, maybe Jimmy Graham will help me. So let's give him a draft. I really wanted Nick Boyle, but as you can see here, someone knew what I was thinking and took Nick Boyle right there. Probably should have taken him instead of Sam Darnold. But in these drafts, I'm telling you, with COVID-19, if you don't get some quarterbacks, you're going to find yourself in trouble at one point because COVID-19 doesn't discriminate. against the position you play at. So let's take Jimmy Graham and we'll see how this thing pans out. We'll be back to talk to you after I draft him. Okay, as you see here, this is the draft board. Right here, you can see this is my team: Dalvin Cook, Kenyon Drake, Leonard Fournette. So I got a group of running backs, solid foundation, good tight end. These are our wide receiver 2s. These are all wide receiver 3s. Dak Prescott is in that second tier of quarterbacks, so I like that. I ended up taking some backups at this point. You can see it's round 12. I do like Chase Edmonds as a backup to handcuff to Kenyon Drake. Dallas Goedert is a handcuff to Zach Ertz, who was taken over here, as you can see. I do like Dallas Goedert at standalone. If something happens to Zach Ertz, this guy's going to blow up, and I do like that. I got the 2 best players at 49ers defense, which I started to run because it was coming this way. I took 49ers, and you can see the next 3 picks out of 4 were defenses, and then you saw defenses getting drafted. So I started to run. I tried the same thing with a kicker after he took a kicker here. Didn't work out. 2 kickers got taken in the next 2 rounds. That's not good. I was hoping for more. If you're a young player, you should probably not take a kicker till at least round 17. But hey, I got one of the best 2 kickers. I mean, I'm not going to complain. And it was in a round 15 out of a 22 round draft. So who was I going to get in round 15? It was going to make a difference anyways. So I went with a great kicker that's going to score a ton of points. Jared McKinnon is another running back along with Anthony McFarland and Rockwell Armstead. McKinnon and McFarland are breakout type players. McKinnon hasn't played in a couple years, but McFarland's a rookie out of Maryland I like. Alshon Jeffries is on the PUP list, so he's not coming back for a while, maybe week 6 or later. I do like him though. How many wide receivers does Philly have? And he's a good one. Teddy Bridgewater and Sam Darnold here are backup quarterbacks to my quarterback Dak Prescott. Hey, that's a good deal because in COVID-19 you can't have enough of these guys. I'm telling you, can't have enough tight ends either because somebody goes down with COVID-19, it's a minimum of 3 weeks on the shelf. That's the NFL rule. And I took Sam Darnold so I could fill out my quarterbacks. And Jimmy Graham, I wanted Nick Boyle right here. Should have taken him instead of Sam Darnold. Probably would have got Sam Darnold here, and I would have been much more happier. But Nick Boyle is the basically backup to Mark Andrews, and Mark Andrews is susceptible to COVID-19 because he's got diabetes. Maybe some sort of form of that. So that's an important draft board. Let's go over to RT Sports over here and let's evaluate. See this little button here? They'll evaluate my draft and give me a grade. Let's check that out when we come back. Okay, here we are on RT Sports. We hit the evaluation button and it gave me a B. I've been doing the evaluation button on this, and I've only gotten a B in years that I've won championships every once in a while. I know you're not getting an A. I think they're hoping maybe you go and sign up for Fantasy Alarm. I'm not signed up for them. They're not an affiliate. They can be if they want to be, but I haven't contacted them. RT Sports is an affiliate, so is Fantasy Pros. And they gave me a B. If you can get a B, that's pretty good. It says here I'm 51 points behind the projected champion. I don't know who that is, but we're going to take a look at that, and we come back. We'll see who they think had the best draft. Okay, here we are on Fantasy Pros, and we're checking out how they graded my team. We just left RT Sports, and they give me a B through Fantasy Alarm. And now we're checking out Fantasy Pros grading, and they ranked me right here as the number 1 team over here. And these are the scores they gave me, which was 100. I mean, what do you want? If you took a test in school, what do you want? You want 100, so what more can you ask for? And I got to credit that to, the pre-draft preparation work we do at Fantasy Football Redemption Rehab. If you get a chance, watch that video. I got to credit it a lot to using the people, processes, and methods that we talk about, like using Fantasy Football Calculators draft board like we just showed you, and using these guys, Fantasy Pros, and they use their draft assist system to help make sure you get a good draft. And as you can see right here, they did that. I got 100, and these are the teams, couple 93s, couple other 90s, 3 90s, and then everybody else starts to tail off towards the end. This in here is where the names would be, but unfortunately I had to blank them out because they deserve the right to privacy, and I have to ask them to even put their names on here, which will only take one to say no, so I just blocked everybody out. But there are 11 other teams, and right here is how their scoring went, right down here, and over here was the rank, and we were ranked at number 1, which I'm accustomed to being up there using these processes that I showed you today, and you will too. When we come back, we're going to finish this up. It was a long day, long draft. So we're going to finish it up, and we're going to tell you what you need to do after this to guarantee yourself a chance at a championship in 2020. Okay, here we are on our website, fantasyfootballredemptionrehab.com. When you get a chance, you got to check it out. Here's the website you can go to that you saw in our video today. Come to our website and click on Real Time Fantasy Sports, and they'll send you over there. Or you come over here and click on Fantasy Pros, and we'll send you over to that website too. When you get a chance, you should check all these out because we can help you get a good draft using all these tools. But what's really going to help you is our premium benefit here. You can get into that by coming up here and hitting Go Premium, and for $5, we'll give you waiver wire picks all year long. Up until week 17, and we throw in our daily fantasy sports picks on FanDuel for football. Maybe you can win some extra money that way too. Thanks for joining in. I'm Buster Brown. The show, it's called Redemption Rehab. Good luck.